Little nitrous never hurt anybody. This is gonna be awesome. Hey, what's up, Sam? How's that Domino's pizza cart treating you?
That name doesn't really ring a bell. Not sure what you're talking about. But anyway, man, I know you're an AMG guy, and I have a few questions for you. I want to pick your brain. You know, I just have too many wrecked cars around here, and looking for an AMG, I'm wondering if there's something reliable. Of course, it's an AMG, so it's going to be fast, but it needs to be super cheap. So what do you think? Can I get it done?
Dude, that's kind of asking for a lot. I mean, an AMG car, it's fast, but super cheap and super reliable? I mean, is there anything else you want this car to do? Like, I don't know, warm up a pizza? Okay, here we go, Autotempest.com. Have Mercedes here, let's see. All the V12 cars are out. Anything with hydraulic suspension is out. I love my E55, and the older ones are such a classic, but he wants something a little bit more modern looking. Wait, why didn't I think of this before? It's perfect. Big V8 engine, bulletproof transmission, pretty new looking, right around $10,000. This is it. Dude, Sam, I found the car for you. It's perfect. It's a 2005
C55 AMG. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and check out my new car. After many years as a Mercedes-Benz technician, and after polling many Mercedes-Benz techs from all around the country, I've come to the conclusion that the 2005 and 2006 C55 AMG is the most reliable, cheapest to fix, and inexpensive AMG car ever built, period. And in this video, I'm gonna prove it to you. Now, I've always wanted a C55 is kind of like your perfect AMG daily driver car that you don't have to worry about breaking all the time. And if it does, it's not gonna cost you your firstborn child to fix it. Now, I fully expected to have a really hard time finding this car because they're somewhat rare, but luckily for this purchase, I used an awesome site called Autotempest.com. With just a couple clicks of the mouse, I found this car about 20 minutes from my house, and I believe this to be the cheapest C55 in the entire country, as I only paid $7,000 with a clean title, running and driving, no stories, and no major issues except for these, the world's ugliest wheels. If you're like me, then you're constantly searching for cars online. Autotempest has changed the game and made finding your next car fun and easy. Just type in what you're looking for and you'll receive results from all the major automotive marketplaces like AutoTrader, Cars.com, CarGurus, and eBay, all on one organized page. My favorite part, you even get links to nationwide Craigslist results, which is huge considering that Craigslist only gives you a 200-mile search radius. To find your next new car, check out Autotempest.com in the video description box down below. Now, to begin, I'm going to show you what typically breaks on the C55 versus what makes this car so great, and that has got to be the best rhyme I've ever come up with. And no, we won't be starting off with this fogged up headlight. I will go over that in a future video. Instead, we're talking about the engine, and more specifically, a part called a crankshaft position sensor that looks just like this. Now, unfortunately, on these Mercedes engines, this part can fail and it will cause the engine to shut off. Luckily, this is a $30 part and it only takes 1 hour to change. So you want to know what's so great about all this? Literally the entire rest of the whole engine. This is a 5.5 liter single overhead cam 11:1 compression V8, and it's hand built by one person in one factory, and they're so proud of their work that they even put a little plaque right here on the engine and they sign their name. So thank you so much, Floridu Aduj. All right, I'm butchering it, but you know who you are. Now, the M113 engine came in many different Mercedes-Benz models, including various AMG cars. It came in a few different flavors as well, like my 99 C43 has a 4.3 liter, whereas this is a naturally aspirated 5.5 liter, and it produces 362 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque. Now, they also made an M113K, and that meant that you got a massive supercharger right on top, and that engine can be found in cars like my 2003 E55 AMG, but also in really cool cars like the SLR, the G55, the SL55, and a bunch of other different higher-end AMG cars. Now, the one thing that all of these engines have in common is their reliability. There are no camshaft adjusters that go bad, no head bolts that go bad. This is a very basic engine. It stood the test of time, and it's considered to be one of the best Mercedes and one of the best AMG engines ever made. Next up for what can break on the C55 is this little guy. This is called a transmission electrical connector sleeve, and unfortunately Mercedes-Benz didn't originally design this too well, and it would leak transmission fluid. Fortunately, this part costs only $15 and takes about 20 minutes to replace. So you want to know what's great here? Literally the rest of the entire awesome 722.6 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, similar to the engine, this transmission was used in many different Mercedes-Benz models, but a high-performance version was reserved for the AMG cars. This is basically the same transmission that's behind the 700 pound-feet of torque producing twin-turbo V12 cars. So as you can imagine, in a little 3,500 pound C55, this transmission isn't really being pushed too hard. I apologize in advance for the disgusting view of these wheels, but if we're going to talk AMG car, we have to talk about what's behind these wheels, and that would be the big old scary AMG brakes. And like every single car on the road, these brakes will wear out. And unlike many AMG cars and many performance cars in general, these brakes won't break the bank to replace them. For parts, you're only talking $550, pads and rotors all the way around. And I'm not talking about cheap Chinese brakes from eBay. We're talking Mercedes-Benz factory brakes. Talk about affordability. All right, guys, I got a little bit of a stretch here, so let's see what this C55 can do. And that's 60. Wow, and I love the way the transmission is set up. The tuning on here keeps it in the upper RPM band. Check this out. You can just whack it as if you're going around a road course and it stays right up there. It's awesome. So this car did 0 to 60 in the mid to high 4-second range, and it ran a low 13-second quarter mile, like a 13.1. So totally respectable. Let's talk about handling on this car. And speaking of that, let me just turn around real quick so we have some nice forest preserve scenery while I talk. This car handles really, really well, and it's really comfortable to drive as a daily driver. It doesn't handle as well as, say, like an M3 of the similar generation, but what's really nice about the C55 suspension is that it's so basic. This is just your traditional steel coil spring with normal struts and normal shocks. So you might have a sway bar link or a thrust arm bushing that goes bad, but that's about it, and everything is very inexpensive to replace. Now, a couple other things. We got to talk about electrical gremlins. A lot of people are scared of this when they're buying an old European car, and the C55 is part of the 203 chassis, which came out in 2001. The C55 wasn't released until 2005. So basically, they worked out whatever electrical issues they had early on. So by 2005, this was really solid. Interior, there isn't much in here. It's a very basic car, and check out the condition of the seats and the door panels. This car, again, has 150,000 miles on it, and it looks brand new in here. So the interior has held up very, very well. So you're not going to have many issues with any of the electronics in this car. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention, guys. I was going to have the 99 to 2002 E55 AMG at that #1 spot, but what prevented that and what made this car better, in my opinion, as far as a reliability standpoint, is mainly rust. If you guys know your Mercedes, you know that around this era they had rust issues. Now, the 99 to 02 E55 definitely had that issue, and the earlier 203 chassis C classes did as well. But again, by 2005, rust was basically fixed, and I am yet to see a C55 with any rust on it. This car spent its entire life in Chicago, and it's totally rust free. One more thing to kind of drive this all home before I talk to you guys about my plans for this car, and this is kind of anecdotal evidence here, but check this out. This is a VMI, a Vehicle Master Inquiry. You get this at the dealer. It goes by VIN number, and it shows you everything that's been done under warranty and some things that have been repaired outside of warranty. This particular car was only in 3 times over the course of the factory 4-year 50,000 mile Mercedes-Benz warranty. Now, guys, this is a big deal. When I was a technician at Mercedes, sometimes a VMI on a car of this age would be like 5 pages long. So for this thing to have only been in the shop 3 times is crazy. One time it was just for a simple recall, the other time for a seat adjustment, and then that little trans connector that always leaks.
electronics. That's about it.
And there you have it, the world's least expensive, cheapest to fix, most reliable AMG car ever built in the entire history of the world, period. Or at least that's what I think, and I'd love to hear your opinion, so please comment down below. And to all of you BMW and Audi guys, what is your version of the C55? Now, here are my goals for this car. First and foremost, we got to get rid of these wheels. I do not like them. And secondly, we might have to make this car a tad bit louder. Check this out. Yeah, is that even an AMG car? It's just so quiet. Other than that, guys, I'm so excited to bring you a new series on the channel, which will be called Sorted. Now, believe it or not, the reliable C55 does have some issues that need to be sorted out. As you guys know, I don't have a dealership license. I go out on the internet and find cars like this, just like you guys. So my goal for this show is to be super realistic. I might even bring you guys with me when I go shopping for a car like this, so you guys can see the pre-purchase inspection. And then, of course, we'll be bringing the car back to my house to fix it up. Now, this show is not going to please all of the impossible purists out there, because I'm going to take a very smart and realistic approach to fixing these cars for not a lot of money. That means we might use aftermarket parts, used parts, and some genuine parts. I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit of performance when it applies, and I hope you guys will join me for this journey. Also, I'll be launching a Legit Street Cars website with some merchandise, and I'll be writing articles after each one of my videos. So for example, I'll be writing an article after this video on my top 5 most reliable AMG cars, because believe it or not, there is not just one. With that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. It actually really helps me out. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And if you've been around for a while, we just hit 80,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Thank you so much for the support. I hope that everybody has an awesome day, and I will see you all in the next video.